Hello, Spill fans.
Hi, Spill fans. How are you?
Michelle, we're going to talk about something today that is, it's like water and air. We need to make sure we have it, and we need to make sure we have it right. That would be your credit and having a good credit score. Now, it's so funny because I was listening to the Tom Duran Morning Show last week, and they have a segment on Monday called Money Mondays with Melody Hobson. That was a tongue twister.
That is quite the tongue twister. Money Melody.
Yes. And she was saying something I didn't know. Now, again, I used to do mortgages. So I am somewhat familiar with, credit scores and all of that, because obviously you have to have decent credit to buy a house, et cetera, et cetera. But she was saying that even today, car insurance, you will pay higher insurance rates if you have a lower credit score than if you've had, and no accidents, than if you've had 2 accidents and you have a good credit score. And she was saying as for hundreds and thousands of dollars more than someone who has a really good credit score. So credit is beyond important today. And when you think about it, what do we do today that doesn't involve good credit? Or it would be better if you had good credit. Some jobs. I don't know if you all realize that. To me, this was kind of a recent fact that I found out, that there are a lot of employers that use your credit score to not hire you.
Yes. Yeah. Certainly.
Whether it's being hired, whether it's buying a house. And as we know, a lot of the wealth that has been accumulated in this country is directly related to home ownership. And who are the ones who don't own a lot of homes? Usually the ones with very low credit, or even if you do have good, credit, let's say it's average credit. If the difference between 3% interest rate and a 7% interest rate, you could pay hundreds and hundreds of thousands more over the life of the loan. So it's we people. And it is blacks that are disproportionately affected, of course, and minorities in general that have lower credit scores. You have, if you have your education level is not what it should be or could be, that a lot of times, of course, will bring you out of the market for the better jobs. So if you're starting out at a deficit, if you're starting out with bad credit, then of course you need a car to get to work. But then you have to pay 10 or 15 or 20%. Like, that's another topic, Michelle, I want us to talk about, because we've always kind of turned our noses down at bankruptcy, and I have heard experts on Sirius XM saying bankruptcy is not a bad thing. Ask Donald Trump; he bragged about it on the debate.
They say the average millionaire has declared bankruptcy at least 3 times within their lifetime.
And I always thought that bankruptcy was a no.
It's very interesting, the stigma that's placed on it, but it's also very interesting the cycle that is a part of bankruptcy. I've had people tell me they filed bankruptcy, and within weeks they're being offered huge lines of credit on credit cards. They're able to go out and buy cars. It's almost like you're allowed to get back into the situation. Now, get back into the situation, I guess I should watch that particular line of speech, because the situation is, if your credit is good and you can keep it that way,
right,
that take advantage of being placed in a situation to get it back. But it's I basically mentioned that to say it is not the stigma that most people apply to it, and no one should feel completely embarrassed or ashamed, because it is something that happens. It's a part of life. When I came out of college, I had about 20 credit cards. I was about
you were rolling.
Oh Lord, I was about 23, and I remember exactly how much I made a month. It was $647 a month, and I had about 20 credit cards.
Wow.
And my car payment was about $250. So I spent the better majority of my early 20s just having quite a time. I had a good friend at the time who told me, she said, as long as you don't mess with my credit or my peace of mind, I'm good. And I joked about it, but she was right. Those are 2 things that if you've got one and you've got the other, you can pretty much live your life stress-free, mentally stress-free. But I was just one of those that got caught up in the trap.
As most of us do, Michelle.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Especially young people getting out of school.
It's age. Because, and it's certainly not at that moment based on your ethnicity or anything. I have friends, Jewish girlfriends, Hispanic girlfriends. All of us talk about how wound up and caught up we were. We got this new job. We were making what we thought was a lot of money, and who doesn't want shoes and dresses and clothes? And it's not everybody. I won't say it's everybody.
No.
I had some friends who managed themselves well, but I've had lots of friends who have consolidated the bills to get a loan to pay them off 2 or 3 times. So there's always something that's going on. But just to get back to the credit score, it's an interesting road, and I've really talked to my child about avoiding the things that I fell into. But he's a totally different child, which is good, because he's died. He keep that money down. Keep that money. Just like, I'm a free bird.
She's free spirit.
Free spirit. I want everybody to
But you know what, Michelle? Unfortunately, a lot of us are. When you don't have, it's one thing to have a. We're not educated about money and managing money and what having the ability to have access to money really does for you in this life. And I've always thought it's really very weird to me how you go to school and you learn calculus and physics and economy and economics and blah 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 blah, but the everyday life stuff that you need to survive till you go to the grave, you're not taught about that, whether it's writing a check, how to balance a checkbook. And I'm sure...
I think we got a little class in math, but it was a little class.
That's my point, though. It's the things that you're going to... Everyone is going to have to know about. I didn't know a thing about bear markets and bull markets and money market accounts and all of that stuff. I didn't, but I know there are a whole lot of other people who did, because they come from that. They come from money and how you manage money and how you make your money, make money for that they're taught that. And a lot of times we're busy paying the bills, so we don't have that.
We also have a very I say it all the time, I don't think we are a race that forecasts very well. We live in the moment.
Absolutely. That's true.
We want instant gratification. We're not willing to wait. We don't want to wait, and so when we get money, we're excited about it, and we're ready to be satiated because we have this hunger.
We want to feel good.
We
want to look good.
Yeah, and but it's a very ingrained thought process and an ingrained idea that it's not just African American. I have a Hispanic American friend who told me that when she was growing up, her mother told her, you have to be the smartest, you have to look the best, you have to dress the best. So when you're trying to look and dress the best, you're spending money to do it. So your thought is, I gotta go out there and buy that suit. I gotta have that thing that says, I am worthy of being here. I am worthy of being in the room with the rest of you guys because I have the right car, I have the right watch, I have the right whatever it is. I am worthy of being in the room. We do it even at church. Remember when you couldn't walk into a church without having pantyhose on? And you better not have on pants as a girl. There's so many things tied to our external that require you to be mindful of your internal. You got to get your mind right. But that's another show.
Let me ask you this, and let me ask the Spill ladies this. When you get into a relationship or you're looking for a relationship and you start dating people, do you ask, what is your credit score?
No, of course we don't ask. You know, I don't ask. You don't ask. But you know what's very interesting?
What?
Like I said, racially. I had a Jewish friend who told me, her mother told her, you never ask about your political affiliation. You don't ask people how much money they make. That is not your business. That is to be kept to yourself. So because it's kept to yourself, you end up ignoring something you need to be asking questions about.
Okay. I'm surprised.
Do you
said,
ask about credit score?
No, but this is
never
Michelle.
have.
When I was researching this topic,
Okay.
this is a fun fact, and I was like shocked.
Fun fact. Okay. Credit is fun.
A creditcards.com poll found that credit scores are important to making a love connection. Quote: if you were asked about, if you were about to get seriously involved with someone, would you want to know their credit score? What do you think the percentage of women, as to men, said as far as yes, that would be important? They would want to know. Oh, yes.
Now?
I think this poll was taken in 2013, but go ahead.
I would say at least half say that now.
57% of women and 47% of men said yes. They would want to know what that person's credit score was.
Yeah. But the question becomes, you want to know, are you willing to ask?
Yes.
How many ask?
I say you.
That's the question.
You know what?
How many ask? And when do you ask? And do you ask? And in my opinion, I think there's certain things that we can almost tell. It's not, and it's not the outside appearance. I think there are certain behaviors that you can look and watch and almost have an idea
of what's my credit score.
Yeah, what's going on. Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Certainly.
Okay. All right. Okay. So okay, Michelle. So what would because the median credit score in this country, which also surprised me, was closer to 700. I think it's 690 something.
Okay.
What does 550 look like?